Here at Tabletop Village with round number 3, we have Lee on the left playing Ice Rider with Crushing Hammers, and we have Cory on the right playing Single Strike Urshifu. There we go. So a matchup that I don't know who's favored. Lee is a very, very good player, but so is Cory. Hammers shouldn't be a huge deal in this specific match either, but we'll see about that one for sure. So let's see what actually happens here. If you're Lee, I mean, you're in a pretty good spot if Lee can just kind of outspeed Cory. If the game goes too long, I think Cory becomes favored, being able to set up those Okos. But of course, Lee's deck should be a little more consistent and a little faster, even with the 4 Crushing Hammers. Should be good and be able to prevent those Okos from happening. Chat, there's some Pokemon Oreos over here. And I just got distracted. There's a Sableye and a Mew and a Mew. And they're all sleeved up for some reason. The things you find at a card shop. Also, I'm going to be doing this round solo. Me and Snorlax, actually, that's not true. Snorlax is still here with me. Let's switch over real quick. We'll be back in the round. There we go. Your boy's on his own this one. We got the Lax. Lax is still here. So Zaria's going to go do something. Alex is busy working as a responsible person does. So we got this one.
Do you need me over there?
No, we're good.
Okay.
Lee's playing a Crushing Hammer deck.
Crushing Hammer?
Oh yeah, you're a Sableye player.
That's my safe word.
Chat, I really hope you cannot hear Alex. Did Brian did not play. Brian was going to play. Someone came late after we started the tournament, and Brian gave up his spot. Sableye? Yes. Alex, who was on round 1 and proceeded to throw harder than anyone has thrown in the history of Tabletop Village tournaments, is a Sableye player. Threw harder than anyone we've ever seen. We saw someone get a game loss for shuffling their hand into their deck with Marnie, and they didn't throw as hard as you did.
Make sure to tune in Tuesday for the podcast.
Where Alex will be one of our 2 guests for the Lake of Rage.
Lake of Rage podcast from a guy who just threw a touchdown here.
I can confirm Sableye decks will be brought up. That's the right set, right?
Dark Explorers.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Sableye will be brought up with Junk Hunt. Because our experts did vote for it as one of the best cards ever. Not the best card ever. But
How many votes did it actually get? I thought it was just like 1 or 2.
I think got 2, but one of them was like the 3rd best card. And so that's going to carry it pretty high. It's going to carry enough to include it in the conversation. Let me reword that.
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with talking about it.
I assume you are, yes.
I'm going to go back to work now.
Okay, yeah, you go work. This game should be starting very soon. And we're gonna try and do this one professional too, chat, so we can put it on YouTube. Oh, it's Shadow Rider. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize it was Shadow. I thought it was gonna be Single Strike. Okay. So here we have Lee on the left playing the Ice Rider Hammer list. Lee, a very accomplished player, top 4 at Anaheim Regionals 2018 with what was that deck called? Zoro Exodia. So whether Lee did it because he's good or because Red Card Delinquent is good is debatable, but Lee, a very good, well-known player. Cory on the right, another very accomplished player as well. Someone who has been playing a very long time, has a handful of top cuts or top 16s at previous regionals a while ago, or stuff like Cities and Battle Roads doing very well as well. So Cory, an accomplished player in his own right, even without the finish that Lee has, that sexy top 4 at a regional. So see Lee playing the Keep Calling Sobble here. Going to go to the deck. Really want to get down an Ice Rider as well. I don't know if Lee plays any Suicunes or not. Oh, that hand is not good. There is a Drizzile, but it looks like Lee's not going to be able to attack next turn. No way to get an Ice Rider down. Yeah.
What Pokemon had the attack Dread and
Eternatus.
Eternatus? Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So Cory getting down the Fog Crystal. Let's see if Cory plays Cresselia. This is going to be a very, very strong turn one. If Cory does not play Cresselia, then you don't really do much.
This hard counters Eternatus.
You hard counter Eternatus by playing any deck in the meta.
No, but you play this, and it's a hard counter.
We're currently looking at a Stage 1 Dreadnought.
Because Dread ends the attack, right?
Yeah.
So when they announce Dread end, you go Dread? Nah.
You're fired.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I apologize for the terrible pun that you had to just hear. So you see Cory setting up a second Shadow Rider, also going for an Alcremie. Oh, and a Lysander. That tells me Cory's hand's probably lacking. It's hard to tell there. Cory's someone who fidgets a lot with his cards when he plays. So it's going to be hard to get a read on what he's got. But the turn 1 boss isn't a great sign there, although it does prevent Lee from retreating and using Melanie to accelerate that energy. So could potentially be a strong play. We know it's in Lee's hand, and it ain't pretty. A single Drizzile is not going to save him, it looks like. There's a Rope, there's a Boss, there's a Drizzile, but needing both a Melanie and a Quick Ball, really. There's a Rope. Cory's trading one Shadow Rider for the other. And of course, this one, the difference is, this one's the promo. The promo does need 2 energies to attack. And Lee gonna evolve the benched. I do like this play. There's a world where you have to keep calling again. And if you have to keep calling on this next turn, you want the option available to you. So eyeing up the research, there's nothing to Melanie 2 currently. You can only Melanie to V Pokemon. There's no way to get a V Pokemon in the hand currently. Oh, there's a second. Oh, interesting play by Lee. I didn't realize there was a second Shady Dealings in hand. Choosing this route instead of going for a Quick Ball plus the Melanie. Give it up to your best friend. Interesting play here by Lee. Clearly deciding the hand isn't worth it. And there's a Quick Ball. Going to go ahead and play the Quick Ball. Getting rid of the VMAX. You're about to research the hand away, so you don't really need it anymore. There's the Ice Rider coming down from Lee's side. So yeah, I'm super curious why choosing this play over just being able to like retreat into the second Drizzile Melanie. And of course, Lee with the 4 Crushing Hammers. The Crushing Hammers don't help here because Cory didn't get a single energy. And I do like the Escape Rope in Ice Rider. It just, being able to pivot is good, but also against certain situations, it can be a boss's order. So having the Escape Rope is just such a good option in a deck that can't really play boss. And there's the research, drawn 7 new cards. We do see the Energy Attach return. That's a big deal. Cory can't really do anything next turn either. Without Horror House GX, Shadow Rider's kind of a really slow deck now. Of course, setting up more Sobbles. You want to have a Sobble in play at all times whenever you're playing an Inteleon deck. Of course, that way Drizzile is always live to get anything you need. And so now we're likely going to see a pass here from Lee. The Ice Rider's safe on the bench, cannot get knocked out unless Cory has some ridiculous, like, 3 Galarian Articuno and a boss and attach, and yeah. Oh, gonna retreat and pierce. I actually like this play a lot. This sets up the math pretty nicely, so 2 quick shootings plus a 250 hit will take the KO. Lee proving he's played more Ice Rider than I have with this heads-up play here. And getting the poke with the pierce. There we go. All right. And good news, chat. I have a deck that I can now shuffle. Oh, this is already... Where's a deck that isn't organized so I can shuffle? There we go. All right, so Cory... Gosh, I legitimately don't even know what Cory wants to do here. I mean, you definitely want to VMAX both of these. You want to start using not Distortion Door. Like I said, I played Sun and Moon Lost Thunder earlier today. I played against Malamar, so Distortion Door is still in the brain. But Underworld Door is the ability. There's a Pal Pad from Cory. Boy, I don't think I've ever seen that in Shadow Rider. Cory wanted to not net deck anyone and to play his own things. So the Pal Pad coming down to put the boss back. Likely means we're going to see a research here, I would assume.
They have like charms too.
And see, do we have another VMAX? Do we have an attachment for turn? Do we have an air balloon? There's the balloon coming down. Ooh, if we see a research, we're going to lose a Pumpkaboo here, which is huge, because Lee plays Path to the Peak. And of course, Cory can't hold this hand, or shouldn't hold this hand. Oh, a Trading Court and a Pumpkaboo being lost here. This could be huge. If Lee is going to win this game, it could be with the Path of the Peak. So let's see, does Cory find the attach for turn and a second Shadow Rider and another Underworld Door? Judging from that hand, no. And let's see. A second Alcremie come down. Cory could try and play the slow game and go for 2 Okos, depending how much energy or cover he plays. You normally never Alcremie twice with this deck. Alcremie is definitely a slow attacker, because you build it up, you take an Oko, and then you do nothing for the following turn, typically. We could see an Adornment come down from Cory if there's a VMAX in hand. Cory currently debating, and the amount of thinking Cory is doing tells me the hand isn't good. There's a lot of very obvious plays, and the amount of Cory's thinking is, yeah, ooh, the pass. That's huge, so Lee has a Drizzile open, has a Shady Dealings and Teleon open. Hitting with Red of the High King would be 130 damage, so not enough to take a KO on that Shadow Rider. But a couple quick shootings and a Ride of the High King would take the KO.
It's important to note that Cory is flexing
How?
with that Shadow Rider.
The alt art?
Yep.
Oh, that's minimum rarity.
Oh, is it? For Cory, yes.
I will also say, Captain Wonder, you're 100% correct. This is a situation where the Zacian would be amazing right here for Cory. Being able to accelerate an extra energy last turn would give Cory a much better slot. I know it's just 1 energy, but 1 energy is 30 damage, and that's just a huge amount.
You have to assume that it's not in the deck, it's in the prizes, because he does has a Fog Crystal in hand.
I'm assuming he doesn't play one.
He does?
I don't think he does play
I
one.
believe so.
Oh, Cory does play a Zacian. Interesting. So yeah, I assume, like you said then, it must be prize. Otherwise, he would have gone for it. Lee coming out with the bucket. So going to be able to attack this turn most likely. How many players? 5 rounds and 27 players. Lee, got to go and double check what's available to him in the deck. Of course, the Shady Dealings deck, you always want to know the contents of your deck because you have access to almost all of it all of the time. There's the VMAX. Likely see an attach. The knockout here would be so big as well. Ooh, we have the hammer too. You love to see crushing hammer in this current format. Hand is... See, how would Alex ever lose with this deck?
This is just bad player.
Right? It's the only logical conclusion.
Should have let me play it, and he just drops. What a waste.
5 players? Yes, 5 players, 27 rounds, Stellar.
We'll be here till...
Oh gosh.
3 weeks.
Stream would be ending way before we hit that 27th round. So now Lee has the KO with the G-Max Lance. Well, there's a Melanie as well, so actually going to get ahead on the energy attachments. This is absolutely huge here. The G-Max Lance, but doesn't even need a Melanie next turn to get a follow-up hit. And with the quick shooting Inteleon in hand, can start pinging the benched Shadow Rider as well. There's the hammer. There's the heads. You love to see it. Lee proving why he is one of the best players in the game right now by flipping heads on crushing hammer.
That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do is hit the heads.
You'll love to see it. And this is actually a really awkward situation for Cory now, because now Cory needs to have a switching card to attack next turn as well. Because you can't accelerate to the active. You have to accelerate to the bench. So Level Ball going to go in Shady Dealings. Let's see what Lee wants to go for here. You can grab a Path as a bit of an insult to injury, if he so desires. You know your Ice Rider's not getting KO'd. You could grab another Hammer if Lee wants to truly meme for the stream. We're going to see a Shady Dealings for a Hammer here. Let's see. Does Lee do it, or does he choose something responsible like Path of the Peak? Or Air Balloon. Air Balloon's also quite good. And I'm going to put Quick Ball as well. Potentially wants to just start setting up a second Ice Rider for next, not next turn, but 2 turns from now. Not a bad idea to get the board state up. So there's a Quick Ball getting rid of the Drizzile. Of course, the Drizzile is now a dead card because of Sobble's Prize. It's not dead, but it's like...
It's pretty dead.
You don't really need it, yeah. When you have to get a Sobble off the prizes, and then it's a live card 2 turns from now because you have to bench the Sobble, so... Pretty unnecessary at this point for Lee. We have not seen it attach for turn either. Lee could attach to the benched Ice Rider. I think I'd like to see it on the active for sure. That way you can just attack again next turn. Perfectly logical play. Quick shooting to the VMAX. Lee knows he's going to have to KO it. In order to KO it, you're going to need 7 more pings on it. And there's the knockout with the G-Max Lance. Online.
The beauty of Play Limitless.
It's beautiful. Deck's good. Now Cory's on the back foot here. Only one Underworld door to work with as of right now. I wish I could see what's in Cory's hand. If you're Cory, you really want to attack with this Shadow Rider this turn. Alcremie's just not the answer here. You can't really attack with this Alcremie. You can't Adornment either, because then you're just giving Lee an extra turn. An Adornment last turn would have been nice, but of course he didn't hit it, so it doesn't matter. Crystal for another Shadow Rider. You're going to need to get them up. You're going to need 3 Underworld doors at least in order to actually start applying pressure. Because this turn, Cory's max damage without an Articuno is going to be an extra 3 energies, which is going to be for 130 damage. Eyeing up the Alcremie. Lee potentially saw this coming by benching the other Ice Rider and saying Cory's going to make this play. But even if Cory takes this KO with the Alcremie, you're just... It feels like you're behind. You're going to lose all of your energy.
Yeah, there's going to be 0 energy.
There's a switch into the Air Balloon Shadow Rider. I really like this play from Cory. You want the balloons on the Shadow Rider every chance you get. So choosing to switch into the Shadow Rider with the balloon instead of putting the balloon on the Alcremie is a heads-up play by someone who knows exactly what they're doing in this situation. So that's a Ultra Ball with a 0-card hand. I assume that's a Crobat coming down from Cory. And if I'm Lee, I'm kind of salivating at the idea of a Path to the Peak next turn. Cory's going to have 0 energy in play, a 3-retreat Pokemon in the active, and if you ability lock them with no room for a Pumpkaboo,
yeah, you're looking at game.
You're good, yeah. And there
He
is...
does play one rod.
Yes, which we already saw.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's no room for a Pumpkaboo anyway. We got a full bench.
Well, you imagine he takes a knockout. A return knockout.
Oh, there's an adornment. Okay. I like this play way more from Cory, but it still feels bad. So Cory's path to victory, he has decided, is going to be 2 Alcremie KOs in a row. KO with this active one next turn, and then KO with the other one on the following turn. Adornment grabbing a Psychic Energy to each of the Pokemon. So next turn, Cory's going to need 4. 6 times 4. Yeah. Wait. 5, 6. 6 energies.
6 energies. Yeah, 360.
I need 6 energies to get a KO with the Alcremie.
The baby.
That's a yikes.
Valerian. Articuno could give out 2 more.
If he plays the Articuno, yeah, he's... I think he can...
He plays 1. I think he plays 1.
Yeah, this is... So Cory has a clear plan. 2 KOs with Alcremie. The question is, can Cory string Alcremies back to back? Because if Lee can stick a Path of the Peak, Cory's only got 1 Shadow Rider and a Path and no bench space. That's not pretty. Let's see, Lee eyeing up everything else. Deciding on his options. Lee deciding on his game plan right now, which I think... He's already Melanie, so he can't boss anyway, but you want to hit this thing, and I think you hit this thing for not enough. You're going to go ahead and ride to the High King for 160 damage, and then you can ride to the High King next turn as well. Another thing Lee can do here is actually attach and KO with the V next turn. Or Lee could G-Max Lance and attach to the Inteleon. And then KO with G-Max Lance into Inteleon. And Lee saying, Mello, you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm going to V-Max it immediately. So Lee has decided, I'm not afraid of the double Alcremie strategy. Football. Looks like we're thinning for that Crobat, most likely. Yep. There's a fail on the quick ball. We're going to go to Crobat for 5 new cards here. Still has not... No, has attached return. Has attached return, yes. Now, as much of a meme as it is the Crushing Hammers, if Lee can hit 2 Crushing Hammers here, I don't think Cory ever wins this game.
No, I think the game's over.
And if Lee hits 1 Crushing Hammer, it's like Cory still has a chance, right? But Crushing Hammer, a single heads, plus a Path of the Peak is kind of really good.
He has to have a Path of the Peak in there somewhere.
There's an incense. Let's see if there is a Shady Dealings Inteleon. It's literally the bottom card of the deck. No, eyeing up the Quick Shooting. The rest of the hand must be good then.
A lot of bosses, 2 energy. Yeah, Lee's in good shape right now.
Actually, Lee can set up game next turn, it looks like. Now that I look at the math, hit this for 250 plus 2 snipes. Next turn you go snipe plus boss for game.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lee is in a pretty good spot. No energy though, it looks like.
There's the energy.
Okay, I stand corrected. Training Court is still in play. Lee hasn't played the path down yet. I was kind of too excited for the Crushing Hammer. I should have known the optimal game plan had nothing to do with Crushing Hammer at all. The way it's intended. You'll love to see it. So when Lee brags about Crushing Hammer and winning this tournament, because to be honest, Lee is probably going to win the tournament or at least come in like top 4. We know better than that. And there is the G-Max Lance for 250, bringing that Alcremie down to 20 HP remaining, so a single quick shooting away from being knocked out. And then the Crobat on the bench is easy picking for a boss-attached G-Max Lance. Leave also very intelligently leaves the Training Court in play. You don't care if Cory has Underworld Door right now. You care if you have access to energy, so you just need a boss to win the game next turn. like I said, Lee proving he has played more Ice Rider than I have played by choosing to keep the Shady Dealings and Teleon in the deck. So even if Lee gets Marnied, you need an Evolution Incense or the Shady Dealings and Teleon or a Boss's Orders to win the game. Most of the deck are those cards.
Yeah. He has way too many bosses for him to not hit it.
And if I'm Cory, I know I want to Marnie my opponent. A third Alcremie. This man likes Alcremie.
Yeah, he just actually he was playing a 2-2 and is actually picked up the third one today.
I gotta wonder why. He's quick falling away the Alcremie, grabbing the Articuno. There's no bench space for the Articuno, so likely going to get discarded or Marnie to the bottom. Lee, very intelligently, one thing Lee did there that I really like is looked at his hand before the Marnie. Know what's on the bottom of your deck. Don't just say, these cards are there. No, have that deck knowledge. Third Underworld door comes down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 energies on the field for Cory.
Well, he also has a Rhyhorn in hand.
Lee's hand, it looks like there's an Evo Incense, right? Melanie Incense. Yeah, Lee's got game. That's it. Unless I'm misseeing it. There's a Melanie, there's a Peak. No, yes, that's it. That's the top card. Lee has game. Trading Court plus the Evo Incense for the Shady Dealings and Teleon. There's nothing Cory can do at this point. And it's just a matter of time till we see a quick shooting plus a Shady Dealings for Boss's Orders. But Cory is going to take a 3-prize knockout here. And such a well-played game by Lee. Again, proving why he has played so much quote-unquote ice tray since last format. Knows exactly what to do and when to do it. And there is the knockout with G-Max Whisk. Going down to 3 prize cards remaining. Lee immediately promotes top decks and energy anyway. Gonna go in Trading Court, not to BM too hard here.
Little bit BM.
I feel like it'd be worse to show your opponent I got the energy anyway.
Yeah, that should be game right there.
Shady Dealings, grab the Boss's Orders, and that's gonna be game. Quick shooting on the active. Taking 3 prizes. Needs a single prize. Eyes up the Crobat. Cory knows what's up. There's the fist pump. And Lee is going to be 3-0, safe to ID into Top Cut here at the Tabletop Village Weekly Standard Tournaments.